Juliette Tuakli, welcome to WPC TV. You are a member of the United Way and also the Chief Medical Officer for Child Accra in Ghana. So let me ask, what is the challenge of your job? What are you trying to achieve?
We have tried over the years to familiarize families in the sub-region to good quality medical care, particularly the care of children from its most holistic perspective, because the care of children, the education of children, the well-being of children really are all intertwined. And we really believe that educating and empowering parents allows them to educate and empower their children around
But this
health
is a
and
long-term
education.
project then?
Well, no. Originally, it was a clinic that provided curative medicine. But I realized that some of the ailments that people brought to the clinic should not have been brought to the clinic. They're things that parents ought to know how to take care of at home. Or people would come in far too late with conditions that should have been identified as being potentially dangerous or being potentially severe much earlier on. Also, we've done a lot of work around mosquito-borne diseases, which a lot of people assume, well, it's Africa, so mosquitoes, you know, what's the big deal? Well, there is a big deal, because a lot of children die from
So
these.
if you have mosquito nets, that immediately is a benefit.
It is a benefit, but it's not just nets, because many of our mothers in Africa work, and they strap their children to their backs and go to work, so they're not under the nets during that period of time. They're sitting out in crowded marketplaces, often by streams, because that's where they get their water from. And the children are very susceptible to being bitten.
But it's possible that in a few months there might actually be a vaccine against malaria. Is that realistic?
Absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, the research is happening in Ghana. It's part of the research, at least. I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but the efficacy is only 60%. In a country where malaria takes such a toll on the children and personnel, you need something a little stronger,
Sure,
ideally. But 60% is better than nothing.
Let me ask you one last question. It struck me that when you had, for example, Ebola in West Africa, Sierra Leone, Liberia, etc., there are incredibly few doctors. And yet when you have medical staff, trained medical staff, in West Africa, or Africa generally, they tend to join a brain drain. Go to Europe, go to Britain, to the NHS and so on. How does one somehow educate people and then keep them? How do you stem the brain drain?
The research that was done in Ghana on why doctors leave rather surprisingly showed that it wasn't about money. It was more the perception that the government was not interested in supporting them, nor interested in supporting their further development as physicians, i.e. continuing education, specialization, or even just acknowledging the fact that they were contributing to the society in the way that they do. I think that our governments, well, let me be more specific, I think that our public service sector needs to be stronger. And I think it needs to focus and invest in health and education especially. Health of the citizens as well as those providers of health.
It's a very perceptive point in which to end. Juliette Tuakli, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.